Referred to us in the following terms. The Tamil Nadu Amendment Act is not a piece of colorable legislation. It relates in pith and substance to entry 17 of list 3 of 7th schedule to the Constitution of India. It minimizes cruelty to animals in the concerned sports, and once the Amendment Act along with the rules and notification are implemented, the aforesaid sports would not come within the mischief sought to be remedied by sections 3, 11.1, 11.1a and M II of the 1960 Act. Jallikattu is a type of bovine sports, and we are satisfied on the basis of materials disclosed before us that it is going on in the state of Tamil Nadu for at least last few centuries. This event essentially involves a bull which is set free in an arena, and human participants are meant to grab the hump to score in the game. But whether this has become an integral part of Tamil culture or not requires religious, cultural, and social analysis in greater detail, which in our opinion is an exercise that cannot be undertaken by the judiciary. The question as to whether the Tamil Nadu Amendment Act is to preserve the cultural heritage of a particular state is a debatable issue which has to be concluded in the House of the People. This ought not to be a part of judicial inquiry, and particularly having regard to the activity in question and the materials in the form of texts cited before us by both the petitioners and respondents. This question cannot be conclusively determined in the writ proceedings. Since legislative exercise has already been undertaken and Jallikattu has been found to be part of cultural heritage of Tamil Nadu, we would not disrupt this view of the legislature. We do not accept the view reflected in the case of A. Nagaraja that performance of Jallikattu is not a part of cultural heritage of the people of the state of Tamil Nadu. We do not think there was sufficient material before the court for coming to this conclusion. In the preamble to the Amendment Act, Jallikattu has been described to be a part of culture and tradition of Tamil Nadu. In the case of A. Nagaraja, the division bench found the cultural approach unsubstantiated, and referring to the matter in which the bulls are inflicted pain and suffering, the division bench concluded that such activities offended sections 3 and 11.1a and M2 of the 1960 Act. Even if we proceed on the basis that legislature is best suited branch of the state to determine if particular animal sports are part of cultural tradition of a region or community or not, if such cultural event or tradition offends the law, the penal consequences would follow. Such activities cannot be justified on the ground of being part of cultural tradition of a state. In A. Nagaraja, the sports were held to attract the restrictions of sections 3 and 11.1a and M2 of the 1960 Act because of the manner it was practiced. The Amendment Act, read with the rules, seek to substantially minimize the pain and suffering and continue with the traditional sports. The amendment having received presidential assent, we do not think there is any flaw in the state action. Jallikattu as bovine sports have to be isolated from the manner in which they were earlier practiced, and organizing the sports itself would be permissible in terms of the Tamil Nadu rules. The Tamil Nadu Amendment Act is not in pith and substance to ensure survival and well-being of the native breeds of bulls. The said act is also not relatable to Article 48 of the Constitution of India. accidental impact of the said Amendment Act may fall upon the breed of a particular type of bulls and affect agricultural activities. But in pith and substance, the Act is relatable to entry 17 of list 3 of the 7th schedule to the Constitution of India. Our answer to the fourth question is in the negative. In our opinion, the Tamil Nadu Amendment Act does not go contrary to the Articles 51A, G and H, and it does not violate the provisions of Article 14 and 21 of the Constitution of India. The Tamil Nadu Amendment Act, read along with the rules framed in that behalf, is not directly contrary to the ratio of the judgment in the case of A. Nagaraja and judgment of this court delivered on 16th November 2016, dismissing the plea for review of the A. Nagaraja judgment. As we are of the opinion that the defects pointed out in the aforesaid two judgments have been overcome by the State Amendment Act, read with the rules made in that behalf. Our decision on the Tamil Nadu Amendment Act would also guide the Maharashtra and Karnataka Amendment Acts, and we find all the three Amendment Acts to be valid legislations. However, we direct that the law contained in the Acts, rules, notifications shall be strictly enforced by the authorities. In particular, we direct that the district magistrate stroke competent authorities shall be responsible for ensuring strict compliance of the law as amended along with its rules and notifications. All the IAs for intervention are allowed in the above terms. As we have answered the referred questions, we do not think any purpose would be served in keeping the writ petitions pending. All the writ petitions shall stand dismissed. The appeal and the transferred case shall also stand disposed of in the above terms. Other pending applications, if any, are also disposed of. There shall be no order as to costs.
Great.
Mr. Luther, you had appeared for Ms. Anjali Sharma, but in the cost title, the original thing has appeared, but we recorded in the body.
I'm grateful, deeply grateful. Sorry, I'm grateful.
Who is representing 11 Solicitor General?
Please, files with regard to the presidential estate.
Yes, all the papers, sir.
Please,
Very
let me get back.
Yes, until you want to take it. Until you.
So the Supreme Court, in a path-breaking proceeding, has upheld the Tamil Nadu law which allows Jallikattu to take place. Now, first my question will go to Brijesh. Brijesh, just take us through what Jallikattu is for a larger audience. What is Jallikattu?
Well, Jallikattu is a very old, ancient tradition in which, this entire procedure, there's a sport which is reaped in their social moorings, and later on it was felt that to tame the bullet, it required it was tantamounted to the cruelty which was given to the bulls, and that is the reason why this sports was challenged in the apex court, in the court where it was held that that this flies in the face of prevention of cruelty to animal. This was regularly contested by the state government, saying that this is something which is part of Tamil Nadu's cultural heritage. This is one issue which goes back goes back more than 100 of years. It is part of the cultural moorings of the state, and they kept on, opposing the government's, the court's decision on this. The Supreme Court had taken a decision saying that this cannot go, and then later on, Tamil Nadu government changed the law and brought in that allowed Jallikattu to be practiced. They went against. Then this was, Ashok will be best able to guide through the legal journey of this case. But then it went to the 5 judges constitutional bench, which was to decide whether whether it is part of the social milieu of Tamil Nadu, whether it is a century-old tradition or not, or whether it is something which is very, very important to the cultural fabric of Tamil Nadu per se. Now, the apex court has held that given there was not enough sufficient data which was presented before it, which would contest the Tamil Nadu government law which was passed, and they have upheld the law. They are saying that if there is any discussion which has to be whether it tantamounts to be cruelty to the animal, or whether this is not part of the social moorings of Tamil Nadu, it is something which can be decided in the court of law and court of the people, and not in the court of law.
So Jallikattu is an ancient game, and Jallikattu is also about coming of age. Jallikattu is also about masculinity. Jallikattu is also about Sangam literature. Jallikattu is also about oral tradition of the Dravidian history. Jallikattu is also about rural India. Jallikattu is associated with bull, which in larger Hindu iconography is related with the Saivite tradition. So Jallikattu is not some sort of an uncouth rural sport which developed in last 70 years. Jallikattu is part of the cultural cosmos of the Dravidian history. So it's customary, it's ancient, it's coming of age, it has to do with culture over nature. So it's very much layered. So when people say that it's just about cruelty against animal, one has to realize that globally, world over, there are many sports which is about coming of age for men. That's how societies used to be. For example, like the bull game in Spain and many others I don't want to go in right now. But first let me go to our legal editor, Ashok Bagaria, who would take us through the arguments presented inside the court, and these are the graphics you are reading about what Jallikattu case used to be. But during that course, my colleague will be taking us through what happened, and I am joined by S. Muralidharan, activist. Sir, thank you so much, and Venkat Narayan, senior journalist. I'll be coming to you, but first to you, Ashok, and then we'll go to S. Muralidharan and Venkat Narayan.
Okay. So, Karthikeya, first of all, let me just get to the genesis of the case. It all started in 2014. Now, in 2014, the Supreme Court of India delivered the Nagraj verdict, and in the Nagraj verdict, it held that sports like bullock cart race, Jallikattu, and other events, other sporting events which cause pain or cruelty to animals are banned in India. Now, to overreach this decision, there was a notification passed by the Government of India in 2016, which made an exception and said that Jallikattu as a sport can be allowed in the state of Tamil Nadu, provided so and so conditions were met. And there was a rider where it was said that due care shall be taken to protect the animals, because now in Jallikattu, the kind of bulls that are used in the race are specially bred. And in fact, one of the arguments which was made by the Tamil Nadu government and people, those who are opposed to this kind of a ban in Jallikattu, said that they usually bring up these bulls or that take part in the races like their own children, and there is no cruelty has been alleged by animal rights activists. Thereafter, after this notification in 2016, the matter went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court immediately stayed the central government notification and referred the matter to a constitution bench of 5 judges. And in the meantime, while the matter was pending before the constitution bench, the Tamil Nadu government brings in an amendment to the law and allows Jallikattu as a sport, and said that Jallikattu is a part of the cultural tradition of the Tamil people and does not in any way amount to cruelty of animals. And in cases where there are cruelty, there are reported cases of cruelty, they are being acted on and action is being taken against them. Moreover, the law also said that this festivity or this festival of Jallikattu shall be celebrated in a very monitored fashion, in the sense that there will be a track of 2 kilometers, there will be fencing on either sides, and even the men who participate in this event, there will be medical aid available to them, and everything that points to the fact that a minimum damage is caused to the bull and the animal shall be ensured.
Okay.
In fact, Karthike, there have been stories which have come out in the past that number of people, those who have died in this race, has also gone up. And that was actually the triggering point why people or animal right activists went to the Supreme Court of India.
Okay, now just let me get our guests in. I'm joined by S. Muralidharan, activist, and Venkat Nayan, senior journalist. Thank you both of you for joining us. Mr. Muralidharan, your first comment on the Supreme Court?
Once bitten, twice shy. I think at last Supreme Court has understood they should not be meddling with regional sentiments. See, the reason why we came to the streets for Jallikattu is nobody understood the sport. Similarly, even Sabarimala. Okay, now since the government has enacted a law, people of India have come to know there is something behind this. That's why they're passionate about. That's why the Marina protest did not end till the time they were lathi charged. Now, what we need to understand, it is not a simple case. Thanks to our law expert who explained the case beautifully, but I would like to tell you, it was not a simple case. The case started actually in Madurai, Madras High Court, Madurai branch, where a Dalit went to court saying that Kshatriyas are playing this sport and they're not letting me play. Traditionally, it's been a Kshatriya sport. So obviously, then agreed. Dalit went and said, I have not been allowed to play, so I should be allowed to pay. That's how it started. PETA picked it up from there. And the initial verdict on the Jallikattu, PETA colluded with Animal Welfare Board of India. Even in this petition, if you say, it is Animal Welfare Board of India versus the Union of India. Animal Welfare Board of India is a part of Union of India. They are actually challenging it. See the funniness of the whole thing. It was PETA who bought AWBI, and along with AWBI, they sabotaged that entire case by giving them wrong information to the court. It was not about animal cruelty which PETA was concerned. PETA wanted a ban in this sport because this was so popular. This gives them a marketing matter. You may ask, like, what is in it for PETA to do this? It is not animal cruelty and animal welfare. I'll tell you, PETA is a marketing company. PETA would like to pick up such sensitive issues. Whether it could be Vaishnav Devi mules, or it could be Kedarnath mules, or it's, Jim Corbett elephant rides, bullock cart rides, elephant rides in Jaipur. This is what they would like to touch, because that will create huge outrage and they'll get huge publicity. When they ban, the entire Western world does not know about Indian culture or Indian traditions. So for them, it looks like cruelty. They will show pictures only when the animal is getting suffocated, or will they pay for such videos and produce those videos? These videos are shown to Westerners, they fall prey for that. And when the ban is enacted and PETA goes and says, oh, we have banned Jallikattu, which is a cruel sport in India, millions of dollars come in as donations. Those millions come into India, they were used. Go and see the number of people who are fighting this case for PETA, number of senior counsels who come. If I'm an activist, if I go to Supreme Court, I can't afford it. I have to go myself as a party in person and fight my case. But same time, when PETA or any of these animal rights groups come in, they bring in at least 3 to 5 senior counsels, each of them charging some 3 to 4 lakhs per appearance. That's the imbalance in justice. That is what has overcome today. That is what is a huge victory today, because it was not the biggest victory for us when we went to Marina and got the government to enact a rule. It is now, today is what justice has provided, because we have fought against a foreign-funded mafia, which is PETA and their clan. PETA, even though they are not directly involved in this case, they were there. Animal Welfare Board of India filed this case. Anjali Sharma, who worked for Animal Welfare India, was thrown out of Animal Welfare Board of India when BJP found out PETA is colluding with Animal Welfare Board of India, and there's a vice chairman by name Chinni Krishna. He was also thrown out. But even when he was out of post, what he did, he gave an authorizing letter to Anjali Sharma to file this petition. And that's how this case came alive again. And the second petition, a co-petitioner, that is M.L. Jayasinghe. Do you want to know whom M.L. Jayasinghe works for? He works for Human Society America. You know, they are proofs.
Okay.
We have concrete proofs, and these proofs were given to
So,
people
Mr.
and in the
Muralidharan,
media.
you are
Even
saying
today.
that there was a foreign hand. You are saying that there was a foreign hand. People didn't understand the cultural, the customary aspect of Jallikattu, which cannot be just defined as a sport. I'll come to you, Ashok. S. Venkat Narayan is also waiting for us. Welcome, Mr. Narayan. Your first comments?
Thank you. I think the Supreme Court has finally put a lid on the whole controversy about Jallikattu, whether it should be allowed to continue or not. Jallikattu is a very popular sport in Tamil Nadu, dated more than 2000 years. And after the amendment by the Tamil Nadu government, the Supreme Court has cleared the whole thing. Jallikattu is being allowed to be practiced, particularly around Pongal in Madurai and other areas. My only concern is the possible injuries to people who take part in this, because you have a large number of people who gather around to watch the bulls, and men trying to tame them and all that. So there is a possibility of people getting injured in the process, and also the animals getting injured. But the Supreme Court has clearly said that efforts should be made to see that no people are injured and no animals are injured. So that way, I welcome the judgment of the Supreme Court.
So you welcome the judgment of the Supreme Court. Now Satish Kumar ji also joins us. Advocate Satish Kumar, welcome.
Yeah.
Your first comments, Mr. Kumar.
We are very, very glad from Tamil Nadu that Supreme Court has ultimately allowed the petitions, and now Jallikattu is the, we say in Tamil Nadu as Yeru Thaluvudal, from the customary part of it, it is called Yeru Thaluvudal, hugging and embracing the cows and the bulls. That was the tradition what we enjoy here for the many, many years, from centuries ago. Even in our old ancient literatures, the Yeru Thaluvudal has been mentioned as one part and parcel of not only as a sport, as a custom and tradition. It is not related to any religion. First of all, I want to say very clearly, the Yeru Thaluvudal, what we say now as a Jallikattu, is not related to any religious practice or custom. It is a practice of the Tamil people, especially in Tamil Nadu. And this is related to encouraging not only the sport, it is encouraging the stability and the health of the bulls, because we country basically on agriculture. In Tamil Nadu especially, the agriculture is fully based not on machines but only on bulls and cows. Now the Jallikattu, Supreme Court has allowed this, and we are very, very happy that Jallikattu will be held in Tamil Nadu continuously. However, we feel there may be some ifs and buts. If there are ifs and buts, then we have to consider that also. And from Tamil Nadu, we are very, very happy.
Wonderful. Ashok, you wanted to say something?
A couple of things that I wanted to point out here, that undoubtedly Jallikattu is a very popular sport, and it is rooted in the history of Tamil Nadu, and people are also very closely sentimentally linked to this sport. However, looking at it from a very objective perspective, that there was some degree of cruelty that was perpetrated on the bulls, and that is exactly the reason why the Supreme Court of India originally in 2014 said that there needs to be a ban in this case. However, today a 5-judge constitution bench has come to a opinion suggesting that not relevant material or requisite material was placed before the 2014 bench. But at the same time, Let me tell you, yes, it was pointed out by some of our panelists that this particular sport is rooted in tradition and it is centuries old, accepted. But here the question was whether cruelty was perpetrated on animals. Yes, there were. In fact, during the course of the hearing in 2014, Karthikeya, I was in the Supreme Court and I remember that there were pictures which were shown to the judges saying that just before the bulls were set free for the race, they were confined into very close spaces, they were poked with iron rods, their tails were pulled, their ears were twisted so as to get the bull enraged. The more enraged a bull became, the more interesting the race became and more difficult it became for the people who were trying to hang on to the hump of the bull. So to say or entirely dismiss this idea that there was no cruelty being perpetrated is not entirely corrected. And in fact, let me tell you that this is exactly which was changed by the Tamil Nadu law in 2017. The Tamil Nadu government introduced a law. First, what it did was that it kind of overreached the 2014 judgment of the Supreme Court of India. And secondly, the Tamil Nadu government recognized that there was some degree of truth in the allegations that there was cruelty which was being perpetrated on the bulls, which the farmers claimed they raised the bulls as their own children and part of the family. There was some degree of truth in the fact that cruelty was perpetrated, and Tamil Nadu government in the new law introduced fresh riders to suggest or to minimize the cruelty that was being or could be perpetrated on the animal. So to entirely to dismiss the fact that there was no degree of cruelty is not correct totally.
Rajesh? I think it's a very important distinction which Ashok has made, because initially it was all portrayed as something which is reaped in century-old tradition, which nobody is denying, which the Constitution bench today also upheld, and it also said that that it does not feel that enough ground was given there, and they do not accept the view of the Nagaraja committee, which was that that Jallikattu is not a part of the cultural heritage of the state of Tamil Nadu. And the court also said that Constitution bench also said that we do not think that there was sufficient material for the court to come to that conclusion. But yeah, to say that that there was nothing, there was no cruelty, or just the cruelty was completely absent, and the treatment of the animal is also not entirely correct. I think a fine distinction has to be made. The court has said that yes, this is something which can only be decided in the court of people, not in court of law, which is a very, very important statement which has been made by the apex court. And this is something which will be music to the ears of several people, that that court is going to make the distinction of what is applicable in the court of law as well as what should be decided in the court of the people, as far as this particular sport is concerned.
Ashok, another thing, Karthikeya, I just want to add to what Brijesh is saying, that this particular judgment will not just be confined to Tamil Nadu. It will have a bearing.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
It will have a bearing on similar sports that are being played in the state of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Punjab. We have seen instances of bullock cart races. The bullock cart races is very popular in Maharashtra. The farmers come together, celebrate bullock cart races. Punjab again is
even
another
Kerala.
state. Kerala for that matter. So this particular judgment will have a bearing.
Now tradition will become the biggest
defining tradition and cultural rights will have a bearing on other things, but as long as these state governments are able to ensure that no cruelty is perpetrated on the animals, these sports around bulls, only bulls, Karthikeya, just keep in mind, there are other animals also, but the bulls are in the exempt category, that any sport around the bulls, if it's steeped in cultural and traditional moorings of the state, it will not be banned or it will not be prevented. However, if during the course of organizing the sport certain illegalities are committed, then the penal consequences will follow for the organizers also. Or if there is a case which is established that bulls are being mistreated, still the penal laws will apply, and under the Prevention of Cruelty Act, a case can be filed against the organizer or the person who brings the bull for bull race or bull sport.
Mr. Muralidharan, do you agree with Brijesh that Jallikattu will impact the other regional sports, sir?
It is already, but if you see, this judgment also spoke about Kumbala in Karnataka,
Yes.
and it
Yes,
also
yes.
spoke about Rekla in Maharashtra, because the original case also was against these two, and it was banned. It was later on relaxed, and now it's been upheld, saying that these sports can be played. Now, what we need to understand about cruelty, now what is actually cruelty? What about slaughter? Is it cruelty or not? Slaughter, for a normal man, see, the cruelty lies in the eyes of the beholder. For anybody, when you see some animal getting slaughtered, it looks like cruelty. But the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act clearly defines, saying that slaughter is a necessary pain. And there's unnecessary pain. What is unnecessary pain? You just pick up an animal, just go to an animal, start beating it, without any reason, or, shoving, let's say, chili powder in its eyes or something like that. That's what amounts to cruelty. Or pelting a dog, street dog with stones, that amounts to cruelty. That's unnecessary pain. That is what is punishable under the law, not the necessary pain. Slaughter, is it punishable? Nobody can have beef after that, or nobody can have mutton or chicken after that, if that is punishable under crime. So this was debated, and Kapil Sibal beautifully put this across to the this bench the last time the arguments were happening, and he said we defined this necessary pain and unnecessary pain. Now Jallikattu is a necessary pain. Now the reason is why we have Jallikattu. See, if there's no Jallikattu, all these bulls will go to slaughter. I'm sure you have gone towards Noida. You see these huge bulls walking around. That's only because cow slaughter is banned. That means desi bulls cannot be slaughtered. So we should have taken them into some Goshala and protected them. We have not done that. We have left them on the streets. So they're unprotected, but still they're alive. That's the beauty. The difference is, you see that under the neck, you see a huge flap. That's called the dewlap. And you see the hump on the back. That's how the majestic desi cows are identified as. Now, the similar cows are there in Tamil Nadu also. The difference between North Indian cow and the South Indian cow is the yield of milk is very low in South India. So today, it's all hybrid cows is what we see in Tamil Nadu. All the desi cows are, by artificial insemination, converted into hybrid cows, which are Jersey or Holstein Friesian. So these cows are not even good for any kind of field work or even for playing Jallikattu. So what happens to Jallikattu bulls? They have no work today. They used to work in the fields anymore. So they go to slaughter straight away. When Jallikattu ban happened in 2016, not 2014, all these bulls went to slaughter. Thousands of bulls went to slaughter. That is when Tamil Nadu got provoked and woke up and came to the street saying that, why are we killing them? They were with us. The cow is Mata, right? Cow is we worship cows because in ancient times in India, when it was a cow economy, it is a cow which drove the economy because it was give us milk, which we used to sell and make a living out of it. We also have to consume. Our kids used to consume. The cow brought up Indian economy. That's why we are grateful for the cow. And that's why we wanted to protect them. It's not just the sport alone. It is, if we don't play the sport, the cows will go to slaughter, the bulls will go to slaughter. That is what was stopped. That's why there's so much of attachment to the cow. Though the Tamilians talk about, Dravidian rule and we are not part of Bharatiya and all that, but end of the day, they grew up with the cows and bulls and they want to be grateful. So if you ask me cruelty, see now the sport has been regulated and brought to a level that when it's left out of that arena, only one person can catch the bull. That means taming he's not torturing the bull. He's only trying to hold on to the hump. So if there's no hump, you can't play the sport. So he holds on to the hump and he has to hang on to the hump for 30 seconds. And believe me, the bulls are, if it's a torture, they will get scared and run away. I can give you hundreds of clips where the bull come into the arena, look at the players and literally, come and challenge me kind of. They turn around. They will not run away from that arena. If it's really a scared bull, it might run away, but most trained bulls stay in the arena.
Okay. Mr. Muralidharan, there is a bit of an audio issue. Let us play out the bite of the Law Minister of Tamil Nadu and one more reaction.
Supreme Court has given a very good verdict, historical verdict for the steps taken by our leader, Thalapathy, and the government of Tamil Nadu. that is the Tamilians' culture, heroism, tradition, all have been safeguarded by our leader. So it is a legal fight. That legal fight we won, but because of our good lawyers engaged by the government and the representation made by them through the lawyers, the points given by our Honorable Chief Minister, which makes the case verdict very successful.
Actually, it happened, sir. Now it's converted as a safe game because we are following rules and regulation, which is instructed by Honorable Supreme Court and which framed by the district administration, and we are following the rules and regulation. Now we have time limits, and we have for every bull we have gap, and we have all safety measures. But even that, as you mentioned, that even Supreme Court judges has raised the question: if the injury is happening in many other games also. But will you plan to stop it? So it's a risky game, but we have to follow the rules. Now it's converted as a safe game. So definitely, I believe in future we can avoid this type of animal cruelty.
Satish Kumar ji, he also joins us. Satish Kumar ji, now it's a settled issue. But why do you think, in retrospect, it became so politicized? And do you feel that sometimes such controversies happen when Western standards of morality, sports, and culture are applied in Indian contexts?
To say precisely, there was, of course, there is a very big political move behind the entire episode of Jallikattu. By not only, as my learned friend Mr. Muralidharan says, that there is also involvement of some foreign people also in this matter. But it's quite surprisingly, we in our constitution also, protection of cows are being given in our state policies. But are we doing the same thing now? That is a question mark we have to raise at our end. When our constitution itself says that we have to protect cows, and what steps so far we have taken by way of any Animal Protection Act by any state or maybe even at the center? Only few states, they have got some sort of protection for cows. Similarly, when you take the matter of bulls especially, bulls are nothing but they are used for agriculture, and not only for agriculture, it is also used for fertilizers, a natural organic fertilizer. When it is used for organic fertilizer, especially for agriculture, what any government any government takes any effective step to breed more bulls or maybe cows? That is also to be questioned. We say animal husbandry department, and are there any protective laws or there any development schemes or giving more subsidy to the agricultural people to breed more bulls? It is not happening. Unless otherwise these animals are protected in such a way, by that, no, these, especially bulls and all, they have to run a lot. Then only they'll get the strength. If it wants to run, and basically it's a domestic animal, it is not a wild animal. When bulls and cows are considered to be a domestic animal, it will be only within the domestic areas, maybe in villages or maybe in town. For that, the government has to take effective steps to breed more animals and to protect animals in such a way, according to its nature. It has to be protected. If that happens, then the question of whether the Jallikattu is right or wrong will not at all arise. And if you see the present judgment of Supreme Court allowing Jallikattu, it will definitely encourage more, especially in Tamil Nadu, to breed more cows and bulls for the purpose of this sport. This is not only considered as a sport, I said, it is also supposed to be a custom and tradition followed in Tamil Nadu for the purpose of agriculture. That has to be noted a lot. See, if that happens, definitely our one way it is culture, because in Tamil Nadu, not only in Tamil Nadu, in entire India, culture and tradition are linked with the living style of our country. Our living style is also with the animals only. If any animal slaughter is happening, there should be a stringent law should be made in each and every state to protect cows and also the bulls. For that, the allowing Jallikattu will be one a broader way for protecting the animals.
Ashok, you wanted to come on this?
Yeah, there were two things that I disagree with my other panelists. Is that one of the arguments which is being made is that these bulls are basically reared for agricultural purposes and for sports purposes. So what had happened, one of our panelists said that after Jallikattu was banned, these bulls ended up in the slaughterhouses. Now my simple question is that even these bulls, these special bulls, now as far as Jallikattu sport is concerned, these are not normal bulls. This is a special breed, and this is specially bred by the farmers in Tamil Nadu for agricultural and for sporting purposes. Now once these bulls get old and they are no longer fit for agricultural purposes or for sporting purposes, they will end up in slaughterhouses. So the whole argument that, you know, in the absence of this sport, the bulls which we consider sacred will end up in slaughterhouses is a little diluted when you cannot answer that what happens when these bulls, even after taking part in Jallikattu sport, after they become old, where do they go? One thing I do agree was that the people of Tamil Nadu, see, you have to understand one thing, that these are not normal bulls. These are very tall bulls, they have a huge hump, the horns are also big, and they are generally, if I were to say, they are stronger, taller and mightier than the normal breed of bulls in Tamil Nadu or the ones we see in other parts of the country. I agree to the fact that yes, this breed needs to be protected, this is an indigenous breed. However, the point still remains is that the whole purpose or the whole mandate of the Prevention of Cruelty Act was to ensure that no cruelty is inflicted on bulls. Now, necessary cruelty and unnecessary cruelty is a kind of an argument which was peddled in the Supreme Court to make the judges understand that what was happening with the bulls is necessary cruelty. But I don't understand confining a bull just before the race in closed, hot and humid spaces. Is it necessary or unnecessary cruelty? Prodding it with iron rods, twisting its tails, enraging it, is it necessary cruelty? Now these are the questions which needs to be answered. And in fact, the Tamil Nadu government itself recognized that this is unnecessary cruelty, and that's why they brought in with the law riders which ensured or which told the organizers of this Jallikattu festival, saying that look, you can have this bull race which is a part of your social and cultural tradition, but please ensure that no cruelty, necessary or unnecessary, is inflicted on the bull.
Mr. Venkatarayan, your comments, and then I'm going to go to Mr. Muralidharan. Mr. Venkatarayan?
Yeah, you know, I think it needs to be understood that in Jallikattu only bulls are used, not cows. And we also must understand that, you know, it's not true that thousands of bulls are taking part in this Jallikattu all across Tamil Nadu. I think it's primarily confined to Madurai area. And we must understand also that in Jallikattu, the bulls cannot go on participating for years and years endlessly. There is a limit to how many times a bull can participate in these races and all that. The bottom line is, I think I appreciate the fact that the Supreme Court has backed the Tamil Nadu amendment to the effect that no injuries or no pain of any kind should be inflicted on the animals before they are unleashed into the arena. And, you know, there should be regulations to protect people from getting injured, because what one sees on television, people running helter-skelter trying to hold on to the hump and people falling by the wayside and that sort of thing. So the organizers should ensure that no pain is inflicted on these bulls before they actually take part in the Jallikattu races, and people are also, you know, kept at a certain distance. I see a lot of policemen in their uniforms holding on sticks and trying to control the crowds and so on. I think so long as the regulations are implemented effectively and the animals are not, you know, hurt or no pain is inflicted on them before Jallikattu starts, and not only there, but the bulls should not be harmed wherever the races of that kind, you know, cart races and other races happening in other states of India. And I think, you know, the tragedy in our country is there are laws to protect people and animals, but they are not adequately implemented by the police and officials and so on. And we need to look at that. And if that happens, I think everybody will be happy at the end of the day.
Okay, Mr. Muralidharan, please respond to it.
Yeah. Yeah, the first countering is, I think we're still showing video clips of pre-regulated Jallikattu. You're not playing most of the post-regulated Jallikattu. The post-regulated Jallikattu, there are no cops inside the ring. Okay, in fact, my count.
I mean, I must, Muralidharanji, I must put it on record. These are generic visuals. They have not been demarcated post resolution.
The intention is not to show that this is not being implemented.
These are just the file footages. So this is just the file footage.
No, I'm not blaming you all for that. I'm saying most of the video, the televisions is showing this.
Okay.
Next is, bulls will go to slaughter or not if there's no Jallikattu. Let me answer my learned friend there.
Okay.
A bull is reared by a farmer. Have you seen those farmers? This is why, you know, this comment was made even in the Supreme Court. Even the defending counsel, both the sides counsel, including Mr. Upholds, said, "Sir, I have not seen a Jallikattu." You know, that was shocking to me, because unless you go and see Jallikattu, how those bulls are brought in, how they are played and how they are taken back, only then you will realize how much importance they give to the bull. Now, if the bull is reared by a farmer, you know, he comes there to the Jallikattu ring, he won't have a chappal. He'll wear a dhoti, he'll have a torn shirt. You look at the bull, that will be like a Rolls-Royce Phantom, very well kept. You know, it's one of like a limousine it'll be. That's the love he has for the bull. He will never ever, the man who rears a bull for Jallikattu will never send it for slaughter. And when they die, they do all kind of kriyas before they are buried. They are buried with all kind of respect. In between, you played a small clip of a ADMK minister talking about it. That is Mr. I think Vijay Bhaskar from Pudukkottai. He rears bulls. He has so much love for the bull, it gets exhibited. Now, coming back, the regulated, the post-2016 Jallikattu, it's very controlled. There is no cruelty to the animals. Somebody says they've been beaten, they're beaten with iron rods, all that is rubbish. It does not happen because people revere bulls and cows in our country. We don't do that. Probably one or two incidents, if PETA goes and pays some money and asks somebody to do that and films it, that cannot be taken as a record for the courts. Now you please go and visit. In fact, the current Jallikattu is being monitored by AWBI. The gentleman who's doing is one Mr. S.K. Mittal. He has been regulating it. Apart from all that, Tamil Nadu is, see, this, what is the most important thing here is the people who rear bulls and people who participate, they come for the love. They're risking their life. This year also we lost some 10 lives, you know, who were butted by the bulls. But they still don't, that doesn't deter them. For a simple reason, they come with so much of passion. Only thing, their livelihood is not as expected as playing cricket. So what is Tamil Nadu government doing? To first step, they are building a huge stadium for Jallikattu. Now you're going to see Jallikattu Premium League very soon. Now that will lift up the entire livelihood of all those people rearing bulls. Second, this will take it to an international level. And this is going to be one sport which is much more exciting than your IPL or National Football League of America. And it's going to be in that level one day. That's what I want to tell you. there is no, cruelty which is being imposed to the bulls now. If you say, somebody jumping on a bull is cruelty, that is not what we see, the visuals we see now. That is not, because these bulls are made for that. These bulls, a single bull can pull up to 2 tons of weight. I can also show you clips. A bull can lift a person with its horns, just by putting his horn into his t-shirt and throwing him 10 feet away. That's the kind of power these bulls have. These are not, again, I'm saying, these are not Holstein Friesian and Jersey cows, which are only bred for milk. These bulls have valor. And I can also tell you, the bulls which are roaming around in Noida, they can topple a truck. They have that kind of power. Unfortunately, they are on the streets and not really cared for. They should be taken in, and because the North Indian bulls and the cows, they yield a lot of milk compared to the South India. So that's why these bulls are still alive in North India. But South, they're all becoming extinct because of the artificial insemination, and their breed is becoming hybrid. So that's the reason why these bulls need to be preserved, and Jallikattu is the way to go. There is no, believe me, if there's cruelty, I'm an animal activist too, I would have been the first person to file a case against them. I knew how these cases went, I knew how PETA came and manipulated record. That is why we call it a huge victory today from Supreme Court.
You call it a huge victory. Brijesh, this whole thing has happened when the law minister has changed. This is an equally important verdict has come when we have all woken to the message of law minister being made earth and science minister, and Ashok Meghwal ji is becoming the law minister. What happened? What happened, Ashok?
I think the law has turned to earth and this.
The law minister has finally landed on earth. Anyways, in fact, there is a speculation which is doing the round at the moment. In fact, what we have seen in the last 6 to 7 months, the relationship between the law minister, who represents the executive wing of the government, and the judiciary has not been very cordial. The law minister, more often than not, has been very vocal in criticizing the collegium system of appointment of judges. And in fact, he has been very critical,
very
acerbic, caustic, and he's even gone to the extent of calling some former judges of the Supreme Court of India as activist judges. Now, this kind of a situation has been prevailing between the executive and the judiciary for a long time. And it's very unlikely that the man at the top, which is the Prime Minister, these developments would have gone unnoticed from him, because today, judiciary has been having an impact on every aspect of citizens' life. It's been protecting fundamental rights, it's been impacting government laws, striking them down, upholding them, and the sweep of the judiciary's power has not been just on government laws, but it has also in some cases shaped the politics and the political future of some political parties. So let's take the example of Maharashtra verdict only, which was delivered last week, where the Supreme Court said that we cannot reinstate Uddhav Thackeray as the Chief Minister of Maharashtra because he on his own resigned. But at the same time, the court was very critical of the action of the governor of Maharashtra. The court said the governor had not sufficient material.
What did that have to do with Kiran Rijiju? Did you work on the...
No, I'm just trying to give you an example.
Advice of Kiran Rijiju.
I'm just saying...
No, Kiran Rijiju, I think took it to another level. You can have your difference of opinions. You can criticize collegium. It's all well within your remit of your office. But you cannot be seen as to literally taking on the Supreme Court and making all kind of disparaging remarks.
But Brijesh, 2 law ministers have been sacked by this Prime Minister. 2.
Well, I think this is the privilege of the Prime Minister. He can have as many law ministers as want. It's 9 years of government. It's not like it's, in 2 years he has sacked 2. That would have definitely made news. In 9 years, we have seen more than enough number of law ministers come and go. See, the point is that with Kiran Rijiju, it has become very, very acerbic. The kind of his conduct, he went on to say, as Ashok was saying, that all the judges have become activist judges and anti-national and all kind of sentiments and motives were being attributed. It became, the center was facing the ire from the Supreme Court of the kind of utterances which was made by the law minister.
And in fact, let me tell you, one of the benches of the Supreme Court said to the law officer, tell your government to moderate or use the kind of language you are using in moderation. Otherwise, they will be forced to act. Now, this was coming from the second senior most judge of the Supreme Court of India. And when the Supreme Court is taking cognizance of these issues, it's basically trying to tell the government that, look, you are crossing that Lakshman Rekha which divides both of us. And we should behave in a manner that it is not seen that, we are taking the fight to the street level. Here.
And it was not only limited to Rijiju, the couple of other government functionary authorities. I mean, the vice president jumped in. And later another thing that later on he went on to call Chandrachud, the Chief Justice, that he is one of the most learned man he has met. But it looked like, that it was ganged up against the Supreme Court. The messaging was definitely not getting the way they wanted. If you remember, Rahul Gandhi made this kind of comment and it was criticized a lot in the country that, that the judiciary is being browbeaten. But the way the conduct of the law minister and couple of other constitutional functionaries left even an iota of doubt about that. That yes, there was an attempt which was being made by the law minister to browbeat the Supreme Court.
I think at the end of the discussion, I'll only say Mr. Muralidharan has been with us, Ashok has been with us, Brijesh has been with us, Satish Kumarji is with us, Venkat Narayanji was with us, that this Jallikattu debate has been put to rest, and this Jallikattu debate has a bearing on every other sport because
bull sport.
Rural sports, bull rural sport, and Jallikattu debate also tells us that the Western standards cannot be purely, simply and simplistically applied on Indian standards, and Jallikattu is about culture, it's about coming of age tradition. Most of the rural Indias, people have to understand, unlike other religions, animal sport has to do with coming of age in different societies, and especially it is organized around these themes. So thank you all of you for joining on this debate, and let me once again reaffirm that Supreme Court, by upholding the Jallikattu, or Supreme Court by upholding the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly's resolution of upholding Jallikattu, will be treated like a precedent in many cases.